What is going on, y'all? This is the K-Fan. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 72 of Against the Blitz. Happy Halloween. A week late?
It's November 5th.
Yeah, it's November 5th. I figured out that StreamYard has all these cool backgrounds and overlays. So we're going to go with this one, the Halloween-themed one, a little late. So we're celebrating now.
Cheap StreamYard doesn't have any Thanksgiving ones out yet.
No, they don't. We're waiting for the Thanksgiving drop. And then maybe next episode we'll wear like Halloween costumes just to really make sure we celebrated and got the point across. But today, of course, we're talking about the NFL trade deadline. There was a lot of activity this past Tuesday, and we're going to grade the most relevant moves from Tuesday up until 4 p.m. Eastern. But before we get into it, as always, be sure you're joining the Discord, linked down in the description below to talk more football with us. But let's just hop right into it. It was a lot busier, a lot flashier of a deadline than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up and it was like Logan Wilson. And I was like, and I thought that was like the tone setter of the day. I thought we were just going to get like Brandon Cooks to the Bills and then like a bunch of the other really boring stuff that we predicted, but we actually got like a couple A-list football players traded that I think I predicted Quinnen Williams to the Bengals happily, but yeah, we did not predict some of these other guys that got moved like at all.
No, like the couple usual suspects were sent out the door, but then there were a few others that were sprinkled on. We had a running joke that Arden Key was the hottest name at the trade deadline. Out of all of the random names that get dealt around this time of year, Arden Key was the hottest one on every single thing that you read. And then he wasn't the one that got dealt. It was a lot of other random role players, really. But let's start with the big ones. I mean, we'll rip off the Band-Aid for the New York Jets, who first sent away Sauce Gardner, which was a complete shock to me. Recently paid for 2 first-round picks to the Indianapolis Colts. What was the grade that you gave each respective team for this?
I did also take into consideration that A.D. Mitchell was a part of these trades too.
True.
I gave the Colts an A-, and then I gave the Jets a B+. I thought this, in long-term and short-term, helps out both teams pretty damn well, assuming the Jets draft correctly.
Yeah, that's the big caveat. It feels like we were just in this exact scenario with the Jets a few years ago, and they drafted the offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year the same season, and it felt like they were on the up and up, and now here we are. They're trading one of those players in question. But yeah, I mean, that is really what matters is how they use the draft capital. But a new regime in place, they have about all of the draft capital they could possibly ask for. But from a Colts perspective, this was a shock. I mean, they were definitely in the market for maybe a defensive end. It came to fruition that they were looking for a corner, but never did I think it would be Sauce Gardner of all guys. And I gave the Colts an A for this one. I think a lot of people are skeptical because we haven't seen Sauce in the news lately. And there's that one play of him getting beat by George Pickens on repeat by all the haters that I see on my Twitter timeline. But really, this is about as good as it gets in a defensive back. And once Charvarius Ward returns, this is a secondary that is much improved. I mean, Xavier Howard was starting for this team a few weeks ago, who then recently retired again. So they're all in. They are all in. And I think the biggest criticism is that they are making this level of move when they've seen just 9 weeks of Daniel Jones. Even as someone that's as much of a supporter of Daniel as they come, it feels like a very quick trigger to do this. But I love it. I'm still on board. I respect it. I am more for teams actively trying to win when it looks like their window is open, and that's what they're trying to do.
I mean, I do get that point, but so it's 2 years worth of first-round picks. This upcoming year, they're projected late 20, mid 20 at like probably the worst now. They would be drafting a corner anyways. Like I've been mocking them corners all year. Avion Terrell from Clemson, Chris Johnson from San Diego State. That's all I give them. So assuming they're getting a corner in this draft, why not just get one that you know is guaranteed to be like a top 5 corner in the NFL? Like I think that feels pretty good to me. Even if they find out Daniel Jones really isn't that guy, I think there's still a good enough team to be picking in like the back half of the top 15 in the draft. And you usually don't get your quarterback there. Like quarterback's usually top 5, top 10 kind of guy. If you're lucky, top 15. But from where the Colts usually draft at, they're not getting a quarterback. Like they're not getting their guy. So if Daniel Jones is that drastically bad, I don't think that the draft pick is really going to matter with that.
Yeah, true. Like it would take an astronomical dip for them to be irrelevant to the point where they're in quarterback conversations this year and even next year. Like I don't think there's a way that all of a sudden Daniel Jones film is out and the league has solved him. It's like we've known what Daniel Jones is for years now. This isn't like a new prospect that's come on the scene that no one knows how to handle. So I think this is like you said, at worst, a middle ground team. And I like I like when the way you framed that perspective, because at the end of the day, what's that draft pick going to turn into? It's going to turn into a player that you hope is Sauce Gardner if they took a corner, hypothetically.
Yeah.
And that's the way I think about, and although not completely parallel, is dynasty fantasy trades. Like I think first round picks in dynasty fantasy football are important. They're valuable, but like if I'm trading for Nico Collins and I'm sending away 2 first round picks, I'm hoping that I can get a Nico Collins out of one of those first round picks if I were to keep them. So why wouldn't I just take him? So yeah. I think it's important to look at it from that perspective as well, because the draft, as much time as we put into it, all the scouting, the statistics, like the time that goes into it, it still is a gamble. So get the guaranteed player. I do like that perspective.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be very different if I thought they were in contention to get, a Fernando Mendoza, a Ty Simpson, a Dante Moore. If they could get any of those 3, sure. Like if Daniel Jones sucks, draft one of those guys, sure, whatever. But they're too good as of right now. Even if they lose out, they are still not eligible to be in contention. They have 7 wins already. That's not happening. So they're picking corner. They're picking defensive help. It's going to be some kind of role player. Next year, I can't speak to that. I don't know how good they're going to be, but a late 20 first round pick and then next year's first round pick, I think that's very worth it for a corner that I think has proved himself to be a top 5 corner in this league since he's came into it. Whether or not he gets a bunch of hate, like that's up to the fans, but he has been a top 5, top 10 corner the entire time.
Comfortably too. Like it's not even really been debatable whatsoever. So definitely a great move on the Colts part, I feel. And the Jets, there's really not much to it. You get a ton of capital and a promising receiver that potentially just needed to change the scenery to not be a moron. So
yeah,
we'll see.
It sucks to be like that nerd that's like you said, talking about draft picks, like we don't know what they are. Like they're not as valuable as you might think. But I mean, they've picked guys like Jermaine Johnson in that mid to late 20s. Like they have picked guys that are clearly not nearly as valuable as Sauce, because not all first round picks are built the same. Like a pick that you project to be a lottery, that's a little bit different. Like if the Jets were getting rid of first round picks, I would be all over it because that's a top 5 pick. And that's very much different getting a blue chip player versus getting a guy in the late first that you're probably reaching on already. So that's why it's different to me. I really like it for the Colts. Like that was one of the only positions on the team that I felt was a true weakness. So now fully healthy, they have Sauce, Charvarius Ward, and Kenny Moore. I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see how Lou Anarumo deploys this unit. Like, hopefully it's traditional, but you never know with that guy. you never know what he's going to pull out.
He's still going to be blitzing receivers, and he's still going to be like, it's going to annoy me. But at least they have more corners now. They don't have to put Ashton Doolin out there to play corner. They have actual corner bodies that can play corner. It's great.
Well, what about the other big Jets whammy that went down?
Dude.
The Cowboys and Jets getting bed together, and Quinnen Williams walks out a Cowboy,
It's
and a first, a second, and Mozzie Smith walk out in the hands of the New York Jets. I feel
God.
like this trade is being perceived one of two ways, and there's no in between. Either the Cowboys got absolutely fucking fleeced, or the Cowboys and Jerry Jones finally walked the walk, talked the talk, and it's awesome to see them, trying to, I guess, make this push, and it's a good deal. So, where do you fall in that range?
I think I went definitely not the Jets fleece one. I mean, yeah, you could get good value, but it's like, yeah, dork, I gave you a top 5 defensive tackle and you gave me picks. Like at the same time, like I would rather have the superstar defensive tackle. And this is a little different because we talked about it last time. The Cowboys picks are going to be a little more valuable. They're not going to be finishing, in the back half. They're probably going to be 9 to 14 range. And that's a good player. That's a really, really good player. But at the same time, Quinnen Williams plays a very premium position at defensive tackle, and especially one that can get to the quarterback. And the Jets just gave that up with something we talked about before the season started. They have no defensive tackle depth whatsoever. It's going to be like Jawan Briggs is going to be their defensive tackle one with Mozzie Smith. That's a really, really bad interior. So unless they can hit on every single draft pick, they're not getting another Quinnen Williams. Like they're going to have to hope Peter Woods falls to them this draft. So I think Cowboys get an A, Jets get a C+.
Okay, so you do lean Cowboys here for sure.
I mean, yeah, I definitely take the 26-year-old really good interior defensive lineman.
Yeah, that's fair. There was one thing that made this trade not as good as it would have, and that was the fact that the Cowboys they didn't have one more win. If the Cowboys had one more win, I think I would have been full Dallas here. But it is a lot to ask an offense, a team of Dak Prescott, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, and whoever else is on it to go on the run it's going to require to make this season specifically salvageable. I mean, they are 3-5-1 right now, and they're 2 games back of the first wild card spot. The frustrating part too is that they don't have an easy schedule. In 5 of their next 6 games, they get the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Chargers. It's just unreasonable for any team, let alone the Cowboys of all teams, to expect them to make a run or to put the pressure on them to make that sort of push. ESPN gives them a 7% chance to make the playoffs. I feel like that's a bit low, but it's just asking an imperfect team to play imperfect football in a frame of time that I just don't think it's going to be reasonable. But if they had 4 wins, really, I would feel that much better about it. But for that reason, I ended up leaning toward Jets. I gave the Cowboys a C- literally based off of that fact alone.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna finish it with I gave the Jets an A. For another first rounder in 2027, I want that class in my hands.
I do. That could be a Cowboys 2027 could be pretty damn big. And I don't know who that would be at this point, but the main difference why I normally would agree with you, but to me it's the fact that Quinnen Williams is on contract with Dallas for 2 seasons after this one. So they're going to have him in 2026 and have him in 2027 after the season ends. So I think it's more of a long-term investment to have, one of the best defensive tackles in football when he's on your team for the next 2 seasons after this. So he'll be there for 2.5 years at least. So I like him as a roster guy, as a locker room guy who's like a super bubbly, upbeat guy, to be a locker room leader and veteran, but also to be an interior pass rush beast pair him with all the rookies you got. Also helps your run defense a whole lot. Easily your best defensive player on the roster right now. I think that's how you really turn around a defense. It's not by just drafting a bunch of young guys and hoping they can become good, but sometimes investing those picks into a proven top 5 defensive tackle that you'll have for till 2028.
Yeah, for once, Jerry did really understand the assignment. He originally thought Kenny Clark was going to be the resolution, but it doesn't get much better than Quinnen when it comes to stopping the run. This guy is, according to ESPN and PFF, a top 2 run defender right now. Like ESPN has him ranked as the second highest, with the second highest pass rush win rate, run stop win rate. I'm sorry, and PFF has him graded as the highest graded interior defensive lineman when it comes to stopping the run. So he is really playing that level of football right now. It's the pass rush right now that isn't there, but we've seen the upside with that. And, playing with the Cowboys defensive line might spark something a little bit more than playing with what was going on in New York. And he clearly wasn't happy there. So maybe there will be an uptick there. The upside exists for sure.
Yeah. The only hard part for me is the amount of money that he costs.
Right.
But as we've kind of seen, like they've already paid all the guys they got to pay. I'm not, except for maybe George Pickens. They've already paid CD. They've already paid Dak. I'm not super concerned about them, also getting another superstar player that costs a lot of money. We've seen from all the best teams in the world. We see it from the Eagles. We see it from the Ravens. Just pay your good players. Don't overthink it really all that hard. So I'm cool with them paying a shitload of money for someone as good as Quinnen Williams and floating a couple draft picks at him.
If only they didn't pay Deron Bland.
That was stupid because he's the worst player on their defense right now. He got cooked by like the simplest stutter step slant route, and he ended up doing a backflip.
Dude, CeeDee Lamb, his own teammate, is on the bench watching the Jumbotron, like jaw on the floor as to what Marv did.
I think people misunderstood that play, or I think they misunderstood CD's reaction. I don't think he's like, "Holy shit, what a route!" I think he's like, "Dude, that's my teammate on the fucking floor. Oh my god." Because like it was a good route. Like it wasn't, not to hate on the route. It was he did it right. But no corner on earth should be on his ass after like he barely even sold the outside. He kind of just darted inside on the slant, and the corner just fell down with his butt in his own face. It was so bad.
I know people were acting like we saw the first like Hunter run for China route all over again. It just
like it was a good route. Like, yeah, not to hate on him. It was a good route. He did his job. He had a great game. But yeah, like the reaction of Deron Bland's body to be on the ground like that is just crazy. Good for him though.
Yeah, it was nice to see Marv finally get some confidence. What about another trade that does not equal the scale of the players involved, but certainly was a big one, and that would be Seattle acquiring Rashid Shaheed from the Saints. What did you think about this transaction?
I think the first thing I thought about was the fact that the Saints traded a 4th and a 7th for Devon Vele. And then they traded away a Shaheed for a 4th and a 5th to try and make up some of that ground. But the difference in player between Vele and Shaheed is not, a 5th and a 7th round pick. Like that's not the difference between the two. So it's kind of wild that they gave up one of their only true offensive playmakers for kind of pennies. Also, Shaheed and Vele are the same age. That was really weird for me to find out.
Well, Vele was old when he got in the league, wasn't he?
Old as shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to Utah, so that explains it. But he's like 20. How fucking old is Vele? He's like 28.
Is he that old? No
like
way.
He's old as shit.
No way. He's 26. He's got to be 26. 28 would be crazy.
He's 27.
27.
He's turning 28 in December.
Okay.
That's
wow.
insane.
That is actually crazy.
He's in his second year.
Yeah, second year. Holy shit. That's crazy. And he's not even playing. Does he even play?
Rashid Shaheed turns 28 next August. He's actually younger.
Mm-hmm. I would have guessed that.
He's significantly more dynamic. He's significantly more productive. And I feel like every time I tune into a Saints game, it's him dusting somebody and getting overthrown every single time. Like it's not like he hasn't been there this season. It's just been a disaster in New Orleans since like week 3. It looked good though for a hot minute.
It did. Yeah, I gave this trade. I gave the Seahawks an A in this trade. I gave the Saints a B. In a vacuum, it's fine. It's probably equivalent value for Shaheed, but when you put it in the context of the Devon Vele move, it's just like what are we doing? The Saints front office, since the Saints organization, I should say, since Kellen Moore stepped in and company, like I feel like they are doing a foundationally solid job, but there have been just moves scattered across the timeline that really make you wonder what the fuck they were doing at the big round table when they agreed. Like the Tyler Shuck pick was the first red flag. And then the Devon Vele trade was another just very questionable decision. It just is like what went into the thought process here. And it makes it difficult to really get a read on whether or not I feel like this group of guys is the right group for the rebuild that's going on. I don't know. It's such a weird situation.
I think the problem is they're getting rid of, like, I think they're in that mindset of like we can cut ties with older guys, but Shaheed is one of the most dynamic people in football right now. Like there's if I'm betting on one guy to go score a random 60-yard touchdown, it's him. And it happens all the time. And I think the fact that their other moves are so low ceiling, like Tyler Shuck, Kelvin Banks was the first round pick and he's been fine, but like they're getting guys that have, a decent floor, but such a low ceiling. So when they're getting rid of some of their super high ceiling guys, it's just a team full of guys with no ceiling. And that's kind of a problem. Especially when you go after guys like Devon Vele. They invested in him. No ceiling there. Mason Tipton is like their receiver 3 now. Like Alvin, like their running back room with Alvin Kamara, who's playing the worst football of his career. Like there is nothing to look forward to right now at all. And Shaheed was one of really 2 things on offense that I think was kind of exciting. And they got rid of him for a 4th and a 5th round pick. So I give Seahawks an A. I gave the Saints a C.
If we get to this part of the episode, the Saints were on my list of losers as a whole. Like they are not just mid, but they're old. Like their talented playmakers are dinosaurs, barely playing serviceable football at this point, but they're still talented. And for them to sit on their hands with these guys that are not helping their team in the grand scheme, in a rebuild mode, and why is Cameron Jordan still on your football team? Why is Demario Davis still on your football team? It just doesn't make any sense why when 4 p.m. hits, you don't just auto accept the best offer that hits your phone. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's a 7th. Just fucking accept it. Like these guys are not benefiting you short term or long term. I was going to say just long term, but not even in the short term. You're a 1-win team. So what are you doing? Just acquire capital. That should be the goal of a team like New Orleans. So,
and that was kind of my problem with New York, and why I didn't give them a lot of love was they didn't do that. Like they didn't get rid of guys that were aging and kind of aging out of their rebuild. They got rid of guys that are still in like their mid 20s that are top 5 at their position. And I think that's where a lot of my issue was. It's like you do all this drafting, all this scouting to hope and pray out of one of your next 10 picks will be somebody that good. And I think that just acquiring a bunch of picks sounds awesome, and it is awesome. But realistically, back to the Saints, like they're not getting a guy as dynamic as Shaheed with a 4th or a 6th round pick. Like you're kind of just eating that. You're kind of just eating that Shaheed will not come back to you when his contract is over, and you're just going to try and get something out of it. But it's kind of sad.
It is, but at least for Shaheed, he gets a nice bright future in Seattle, and I think Shaheed is somebody that deserves a lot more credit as an individual playmaker, because he isn't just the return man that's good on gadget plays or the average deep shot. Like, I think this guy could run the full 9.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes this trade perfect is that that's not what he is going to be needed for in Seattle. He will be used in the proper capacity for what Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak are going to want to do. Like, this is the absolute perfect fit, which I think makes the capital they spent look that much better. Like, I think if he went to another team and they spent this, I'd be like, yeah, that looks and feels about right. But this feels like an absolute steal because of how much the fit makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think Seattle can contend, like actually contend. Like when your defense is that good and JSN's playing at the level he's playing at, to have another secondary option that people are also like actually shaking in their boots about. Like people respect Torrey Horton. I think people respect Elijah Arroyo. They respect the running backs, but they don't fear them. Like they don't fear that like the top is getting taken over them every game. And it's similar to how Jameson Williams is in Detroit, where it's like individually he might not be putting up crazy box scores, but there's not a single play where a corner and a safety don't know exactly where he is at all times because he can just take the top off, beat you on a deep inside route. But like, I think that's similar to what Shaheed's going to do with Seattle. It's like he might not be putting up 75 yards a game. He might not be scoring touchdowns every game. But I do think his impact is going to be much bigger than that just for how much he can stretch the field and how scary he can be.
Rashid Shaheed or Jameson Williams? You're starting a team right now.
Oh, God. Probably still Jameson. He's younger and he's been more productive, but it's a good question. Shaheed offers that special teams that Jameson really doesn't. And he kind of seems more normal.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like them both, but yeah, I'm still going Jameson. I would give up definitely a fourth and a 6th round pick or fourth and a 5th for Jameson Williams. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the age is the biggest thing with that. But I think like purely as who they are today, I think Shaheed's a better receiver. If I had to call on one of those two guys to be more than what they usually are, like used in a bigger role, I think I'd trust Shaheed to be that. Like I mean, how many times do we see Jameson really like break outside the numbers? Like usually he's going vertical or he's running like you know a crosser. I think Shaheed could actually. I think Shaheed could do it better though. I don't know. I feel like he's a good route runner.
I think the sample size of them both is just way too small with that. Like each of them have had a very specific role that they've been asked to do. And Amon-Ra and Olave have kind of taken like the actual stuff. And those two were just very, very important secondary pieces. But yeah, that's a good question.
Well, what about the other receiver trade that went down on Tuesday? Jakobi Meyers was sent off to Jacksonville for a 4th and 6th round pick as well. What were your thoughts on that?
That one was a little bit more interesting. I do. So when is his contract up? Is he Jakobi Meyers? Is it? That's because that matters for me.
Jakobi.
I'm trying to find. Oh, he's a free agent in 2026. So he's a free agent this upcoming season.
Yes.
I don't know. This one I really struggled with because we were talking about it earlier in the Discord. Trevor Lawrence, he has had a lot of struggles. Like he has not looked himself. He has not looked any more developed than he did as a rookie. But at the same time, he is by far suffering from drops more than any quarterback in the league. And that definitely does something to you mentally when over 12% of your passing attempts hit the hands of your receiver and fall on the ground. That's like, that would make me so mad. I would never trust them again. I would never throw anybody the ball ever again. I would only throw it to Brenton Strange because I know he's not going to drop it. But that's kind of what Jakobi Meyers comes in on their team to do. Like, he's Mr. Shorthanded. He might not be taking the top off your defense. He doesn't win vertically all that much, but he catches everything. And he's very reliable. And that's something I really like for that. So I gave the Jaguars a B. And I gave the Raiders, I actually gave them a B+. Not for the value of the player, but just because they don't give a shit about him anymore. And they haven't since like week 1. So to get any kind of value before he goes off to be a free agent, good for them.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize his contract was expiring, but I gave the Raiders a C partially because of the reason you said. Like, this is a talented player, really the only one at the position that you have, and they haven't given a shit about him. And they probably could have milked a little bit more in terms of trade value from a better team that might have really been itching to acquire him if he was more relevant. But he just really was an afterthought to this regime. And it was kind of clear that he wanted out weeks and weeks ago. I mean, he literally said, I want out. So I think with that context given, that's why I was like not happy with the way the Raiders side of it went down. But for the Jaguars, at least, I gave them an A-. You ran down the bullets perfectly. I think Jakobi too is another player that is just not. He just hasn't been given the opportunity this year to be what he truly can be. And we saw this guy last year be an 1,000-yard receiver with Gardner Minshew and whatever else they rolled out there at quarterback. So to his credit, I think he will be a big help for Trevor Lawrence. It just sucks that he's 29 years old. They're probably going to extend him. I would like to figure, like, you don't make this deal for a rental for a team that is like,
but God, they're full.
Yeah, but like, why would you trade a 4th and a 6th just so your quarterback can say, "Oh, that guy caught it"? Like, I mean, they're not contending this year. So
I mean, they traded so much for Travis Hunter. I mean, I feel like Gladstone's kind of showed he's willing to trade whatever the hell he wants for the guy that he wants. Right. But yeah, I mean, if they extend him going forward to have BTJ, sorry, he lost that title. Brian, Travis Hunter, and Jakobi Meyers, that's a full room with Parker Washington on the bench. That's kind of like one of the most well-rounded, dynamic receiving cores in the league. But I think they made it because I think they still think they can contend. Travis Hunter is on the IR, and BTJ apparently has an injury that's like worse than I thought. So right now they're kind of down in the dumps, and they probably feel like they're out of contention if they run with De'Ami Brown and all them as their receiver one. So I think they're just trying to stay afloat for this season alone, which I get. Like, this is your best season in years. Go for it. See what you can win.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think that's also why they're going to have to hold on to him. If they don't end up holding on to him long term, I will hate this trade for Jacksonville.
I mean, it just depends what like the comp pick would be, but comp picks are so annoying because they're not till later. Like you don't get the pick immediately for this coming draft. Like it's down the line. No one knows what it's going to be because it's also based off of like what kind of contract they get next year. Mm-hmm. So it's risky. It's risky to try and go that route. But that's really the only thing I can say to give it some kind of hope.
Yeah. Well, that was the big argument for the Eagles trading for Jaelen Phillips, which is something we kind of talked about last episode because the trade was made a few days ago. But this was one of the biggest names also dealt at this deadline. It's the, they're going to get a comp pick anyway argument for Howie Roseman, because I posted a TikTok of Austin Spiel on Howie Roseman, and people were not very happy with that.
I think it's because people just think comp picks fall into your lap. Like, I think that they think player A leaves, immediately we get a 3rd round pick. But it's based on a lot of different factors. Like, it's based off of like this next contract they're about to sign. And for someone like Jaelen Phillips, who has knees and ankles made of butter, we don't know what kind of long-term contract he's going to sign. So if he doesn't sign how you would like, you might not get the pick that you like. Like, yeah, it might be worth it to get a short-term rental and hope you get even a 4th or a 5th round comp pick back. That would be pretty cool. But I don't know. I think people have been very aggressive about Jaelen Phillips thus far, but it's a good trade. It's a really good trade for both teams.
Yeah, Miami, another team that at least I thought should have been a lot more aggressive at this deadline, similar to New Orleans. And they at least managed to offload Jaelen Phillips. This is another team that gets a 3rd round pick, but it's hard not to focus. At least every time you look at all of these trades, it's hard not to look at the context and what's going on with the team and why they traded said player. Like, the Dolphins should have been selling everybody. The fact that Bradley Chubb is still a Miami Dolphin is a crime. The fact that Minkah Fitzpatrick is still a Dolphin is also a crime. I could even make the argument that Jalen Waddle should have been sent off as well. Like, this should have been the time where you take advantage of those high prices you could set to really rob the teams that are looking to build and to make a run. This is the same team that traded a first for Bradley Chubb a few years ago. That was one of the most absurd overpays I feel like I could remember in a long time. And they just don't take advantage of the similar opportunity. It was such a disappointing deadline for a lot of teams, but these one specifically that are clearly nosediving for the dumps that just did not take advantage of the opportunity that presented itself. It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing that I felt about New York. It's the same thing I felt about them, where it's like, yeah, they did some selling. I don't think they should have been done, though, at all. Like, Jaelen Phillips makes a lot of sense. Like I said, he's extremely injury prone and his contract is up this year. I think getting a 3rd-round pick for him was incredible value because you don't know what compensatory picks are going to bring you. It's very risky. So to get a guaranteed 3rd for him was a great move by them. But yeah, like you said, Bradley Chubb's in the exact same boat. He's also injury prone. He's also not playing his best football. I think getting rid of him would have made even more sense than Jaelen Phillips. I think they had plenty of offensive guys they could have looked towards getting rid of. And I think that like people like Jordan Brooks on defense were also Minkah Fitzpatrick. They were all getting a lot of love to be possibly moved off from. So I don't love keeping all of them, but just deciding to get rid of Phillips. I feel like if you're going to get rid of all your old aging guys, get rid of more than one.
Yeah, Rasul Douglas is on this team too. Like,
yeah,
why?
I'm not sure if he'd get you, but like, yeah.
I think something. There are teams out there that I think would have been willing to pay something. And like I said with the Saints, like by the time 4 o'clock hits, you take the best offer you can get.
Yeah. I feel like I would be trading if I was, a team that's looking for anything. If I have one shitty, like the Bengals, anywhere on defense, like I would be trading my 7th-round picks for so many shitty players. Because like how often do 7th-round picks ever actually even make your roster? Like not all that often. So I feel like I would trade them for guys like Rasul Douglas, even just for 1 year, hoping you can get slightly average football out of him. That'd be great. It's great value for a 7th-round pick.
Agreed. Just a weird deadline, a fun deadline, but a weird one. Were there any other trades? There were a lot of other sprinkles here and there.
Yeah, there were some sprinkles for sure. There were some big name guys where I'm not sure if they're going to make a big name impact, like Jair Alexander and a 7th got traded to the Eagles for a 6th-round pick. It's another one of those really weird move off of a corner that's playing shitty right now. We're going to hope he can come to our team and not play shitty. Partially because he has a really big name. I mean, he was an all-pro level corner, 3 years ago? There was a lot of hope coming into the season for him at Baltimore. He played pretty bad, then got hurt, and like it was a whole mess of things. But Philly seems really optimistic he can come in and just boat race Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo out of there. But I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens defensive back group wasn't great either, and he had a hard time staying on the field in Baltimore. Like the corners in Philly are worse, but are they so bad to the point where Jair Alexander is going to come in and instantly make an impact? I would not be so sure about that.
But at the same time, like they got him at a 7th for a 6th.
Yeah.
That's the kind of investment I like to talk about. It's like you're giving up a 6th-round pick for a possibly shitty player in a 7th, but he's also a possibly good player in a 7th. And that's a gamble that good teams make. Like that's why Howie Roseman gets, that title. It's because a lot of these moves won't work out. The John Mechie move didn't work out. He's made a ton of moves that didn't work out. He traded for Kenyon Green, who's disgustingly bad. But occasionally one will hit. And he just happens to make way more moves than anybody else. So his hit rate is just so much higher than everybody else. And that's why they have one of the most well-rounded rosters in the NFL.
Yeah, that is true. That the more swings you make, the more likely you are to actually hit a ball. And I think that's been the frustration with, and I guess I can't even just say the Bills, because there were a lot of teams at the deadline that sat on their hands that I did not expect to be so silent. Like
Mhm.
the Bills, the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Broncos, these teams that are actively contending, that have positions of need, that made zero moves. Like it's not even like they made one small move that maybe moves a needle in one small direction. They made no moves. Like a lot of the inside Bills media was expecting like maybe two trades to be made because of the defensive line injuries that they've suffered, and because of the defensive back room and the safeties currently and the receiver conversation. And then they do nothing. And the Chiefs, same kind of thing. Like a running back seemed imminent. They have Isaiah Pacheco, who's out with an ankle injury right now. Rashard Smith, who's better off playing out of the slot than he is in the backfield, and Kareem fucking Hunt. Like Brett Veach really drew the line at a 3rd-round pick for Breece Hall. That's seemingly where the disconnect was. Just such a weird, like I said, weird deadline for teams that
Yeah.
could have done something that didn't.
I mean, I personally probably wouldn't have gave up a lot for Breece Hall, but at the same time, like, I'm glad they tried. I'm glad they reached out. Like, they did want to make an effort, but man, their running back room's so bad. And I think I'm higher on Kareem Hunt than others. I think that he does offer a lot, but I can't watch any more Pacheco this season. He's been one of the worst running backs I've ever watched in my lifetime. And like you said, Rashard Smith, he's a glorified slot receiver. He has some talent, but that he's not a one. He's not an RB1. And Kareem Hunt's not either. You know, his halfback dive on 4th and 1 is somehow better than the tush push. Like it's the best thing in football, but still, you need a running back more than just a short yardage scenario. Like especially when you are 5-4 now they are, and they need to make a comeback. You can't rely on Mahomes to be your run game. You can't rely on the short passing game to be your run game. Breece Hall would have been nice, especially with that offensive line. But I do agree with not overpaying for an inconsistent running back.
that stat is crazy. Like Kareem Hunt's success rate in short yardage is more successful than the tush push. I heard that stat, and I was blown away when I heard that.
Dude, I mean, he's not the most powerful, but when have you ever seen Kareem Hunt fall backwards? He does, like he contorts. He has a good feeling from when he's about to get hit. He contorts his body and he makes damn sure that he's falling forward, but he usually like stays running. Like he doesn't just like dive over a pile. Like he's like gets like 8 yards on 4th and 1. It's so strange, but he can't do it on 1st down. It makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense to me either that he is so successful in the crucial moments, but then when like they just need an on schedule pickup of 4 on 1st and 10, he gets 2. Like why
Yeah.
can't we, just be a little bit more efficient? But as far as like a lot of the other trades go, I thought one of the more unique ones that maybe make an impact was the Dre'Mont Jones trade from the Titans to the Ravens. We kind of touched on that as well last episode, I believe. I feel like we talked about it, but the Ravens send away the Ravens acquire Dre'Mont Jones. I'm sorry, the Titans get a conditional 5th. This guy feels like such a Raven.
He does.
He just feels like one of those guys on the inside that you can really put them anywhere. They do like their chess piece type guys on the defensive line, and that's what Dre'Mont Jones fills in. Logan Wilson for the Cowboys for a 7th. That's about as even as a trade I think you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Like the poor guy got benched, so you trade him away for a 7th. Like,
yeah, I think that's the kind of trades. Like, obviously, like I feel like Logan Wilson could be worth more than just a 7th-round pick, but at the same time, if you're just gonna stash him away and never to see him ever again, then yeah, get something out of it. But I feel like they did him dirty by sending him to the only defense that can kind of rival how bad the Bengals defense is. Like, all he wanted to do was go to a better defense and make an impact. But instead, they're like, yeah, you can go to the only defense that is almost as bad as ours. That was dirty, but he at least gets to play.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
that's true. Right. I mean, that second level is atrocious in Dallas. So you'd like to think he's gonna get a chance. He might not stay on the field, but he'll get a chance. He was benched. He was a forgotten afterthought as a captain in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, it sure was. Well, do you want to run through your 5 winners and 5 losers of the deadline here?
Yeah. So I'll go through them pretty quick. Winner 1 was Sauce Gardner. Just going to a 7-2 team after that dog shit scenario in New York where you almost weren't really appreciated for how good you were. I think he'll start to get appreciated soon. The Jets GM, it's Darren Moogie. I don't know how you pronounce this name, but I'm not giving him a win for anything specifically, but I just know GMs love to draft, and he has so much room to draft with now. Jakobi Meyers, for the sake of being a complete afterthought in Vegas, and now he is becoming possibly the focal point of this offense with how much they seem to hate Brian now. Jaelen Phillips was also another winner for the sake of the same thing, going from Miami, where you are in the Tank Bowl, now going to a team that has a good chance of winning the Super Bowl. And then I also put Jerry Jones haters because they actually get to be excited about something now. Like, he finally did something that wasn't getting rid of his best player. He actually traded capital for a really good young defensive player. That was huge.
Yeah, even Tag was happy. Tag is never happy.
Yeah, how do you make that guy happy? Yeah, Donovan Ezaraku goes berserk on Monday Night Football. And he's like, oh, he got beat around the edge by Jacoby Brissett. Of course. So he's been living in the backfield. But yeah, that's the problem. But yeah, I'm glad he was happy about it.
Yeah, like finally Jerry Jones is in these press conferences like, yeah, we have like a bunch of trades just in the barrel. We're waiting to see which one we want to choose, which one we want to pull the trigger on. And we're like, oh, okay, sure, buddy. And then he goes and trades for Logan Wilson.
Great. Yeah. Like, I genuinely thought that was it. When he was bragging about how they have a trade, I thought, like, I woke up so early on Tuesday morning, and I was like, wow, that's it? It's Logan Wilson for a 7th. And then, like, 3 hours later, they're like, oh, yeah, Quinnen Williams. I was like, okay, that's a lot cooler.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's hilarious that it would have been so on brand for it just to be Logan Wilson, too. Like, that is such a Jerry Jones.
Like, his nickname was the Cowboy because he went to Wyoming. Like, they're the Cowboys. Like, he was the Cowboy. So it makes sense.
Well, who are your 5 biggest losers?
My biggest losers are, number 1, Breece Hall, because he wanted out so bad. Like, he could have gone to the Chargers. He could have gone to the Chiefs. Somebody with some momentum. And they're like, yeah, actually, you of all people with an expiring contract, you're staying for some reason. Unless they're pretty confident they're getting a good compensatory pick for him. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of really strange to drag him through the mud, especially for running backs who, like, they don't have a long time here in the NFL. He's probably got like 3 more years of good Breece Hall left, like max. Kind of sucks to drag him, but I put Trey Hendrickson for the same reasons. Like, he pretty clearly kind of wants to move on. They didn't let him move on. He's going to get slapped in the face with a franchise tag at the end of the year. I can see the future, and he's never not going to be a Bengal. He's going to be here forever. The Saints, I have them as a loser, kind of just because of the same thing. Like, they didn't get rid of enough. Like, Shaheed for a 4th and a 5th. That's not enough. The Patriots, for a team who's in a really good window now with your quarterback on a rookie deal with a great record, I'm shocked they didn't do more. And then the Bills, but specifically Mr. Bean, for doing nothing at all, being content with this as the Super Bowl winning roster.
Yeah. I feel like I've talked so much about it, I can't even like bear to continue. But a lot of those, the only thing saving me from going insane about the lack of activity from Buffalo is, like I said, the other top teams seemingly not doing anything either. Like, it was like they all had an agreement, like, you won't do anything, so I won't do anything. Deal? Deal.
Yeah,
And
but to me, it's so much more annoying. It's like the Chiefs didn't get any better. The Ravens didn't. They're like the Ravens are below 500. Like those are the two big teams you got to beat. Like the Broncos didn't get any better. Patriots didn't do anything. Like the Bills could have been the team to be like, okay, I'm gonna get better. Welcome to the squad, Shaheed. A fourth and a fifth round pick. I'd give that up in a heartbeat if I'm Buffalo. Absolutely. They had so much draft capital last year. I would be all in. I'm kind of sad they didn't, because that would be so much fun.
yeah, a lot of like the noise was, if it's not Olave, if it's not like AJ Brown or Calvin Ridley, one of the like quote unquote wide receiver ones, then they didn't want them. They wanted like a real needle mover. But we talk about it all the time. Just get good football players. And that's what Shaheed and that's what guys like Jakobi Meyers would have been. So
yeah,
it sucks. But
I'd argue for those last two possibly over Calvin Ridley at this point.
I think I would have been upset with Calvin Ridley or Deebo Samuel for that matter.
Deebo, you have Deebo. His name's Shakir. Like, you don't need two of those. Like, yes, you like multiple good receivers, but Shaheed would have been a dream for that skill set to stretch that full football field.
That was one of the jokes. It's like one of the beat reporters locally was like, keep an eye on Von Miller and Deebo to Buffalo. And we were all like crying, like skin melting, wanting to jump off cliff sides hearing that. Like, yes, you thought you were getting Chris Olave. Here's Von Miller and his weird haircut. Like,
yeah,
that would have been the most Bills.
What's wrong with his haircut right now? Did he cut it weird again?
I don't know. I just know when
I remember that one time he had like only hair on his neck. Oh yeah. Yeah, there it is. That's weird. I think he's cool now. All the pictures when I look up Von Miller haircut are from Buffalo. I think he just did that because he hated you guys.
He just had like an Illuminati triangle on the back of his head.
Like, this is heat.
Well, I'll go through my 10 mentions here. My 5 losers are Trey Hendrickson, of course. They have to be on here. He has to be on here. Breece Hall has to be on here. I had a couple teams, though. I had the Saints. I had the Dolphins. But the one team that I think deserves to get absolutely grilled is Washington. This team is old. This team has no quarterback. This team is not making the playoffs. And they did nothing. They traded for Laramie Tunsil this offseason, attempting to make a push. And they didn't try to get any of that capital back in 2026 or 2027. But I think the other hand of that is, who the fuck would anybody want from this roster? Like, I'm looking up and down the Commanders, top 22, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I wouldn't want any of these players, so it's not really a shock that no one was moved. So
yeah, I think it's shocking how many holes they have to fill now on that team. Because looking at next year's free agency, Debo's gone. Bobby Wagner might just retire, but he's also a free agent. Zach Ertz, they have tight ends going to be an issue. Von Miller, and then a bunch of offensive linemen and rotational players are all going to be gone. So already with a team that has a lot of holes that's not doing well with their quarterback out, they're also losing a lot of impactful starters. So they're going to have to be extremely active in the offseason. And I'm shocked, like you said, they didn't try and get rid of some of those old guys to contending teams while they can. It's kind of strange. I mean, maybe because Howie's like the only guy that would trade for all their guys, and they're not going to trade interdivision. But I don't know. A bunch of their guys scream Baltimore. Like, it's Baltimore and it's Howie are the guys that trade for your old washed up players. Like, I'm sure Baltimore would love to trade for Bobby Wagner right now.
Yeah, right.
For
They
Debo.
would love that.
Yeah.
Well, the final loser I had was Jeffrey Simmons. I feel bad for that guy. You're 28 years old, in the prime of your career, playing all pro level football, and you just have to rot in the worst of the worst organizations right now. Like, it doesn't get worse than Tennessee, really. I don't think. So,
no, they don't have a coach. They're like Mike McCoy. Last time he was coaching was when he ruined the Phillip Rivers led Chargers. That's how long ago he was a head coach, and I don't think any good head coaching candidate's gonna want to go flock to Nashville either at all. And
Nope.
Cam Ward's not looking. It's looking like he's gonna take a lot more time to be even an NFL average quarterback. So yeah, a lot of time left to go, and by the time they figure that shit out, it might be too late. I mean, fuck, he's on roster till 2028. Dude, he's gonna rot there.
Is. I remember when I looked at that earlier. Oh my god.
They hate him. They hate him. Oh my god. I mean, at least making a bag. He's on a 4-year 94. That's his fucking fault. I don't even feel bad. He signed that. Anybody else would have signed him to that, but he extended himself.
Oh my god.
4 years, 94. Look, come on. You can't tell me he couldn't have came to Mr. Bean in Buffalo, or come to John Lynch in San Francisco and said, "Hey, offer me 4 years, 94."
Yeah.
They do that shit in a heartbeat. The Bills drafted 2 defensive tackles this last season and picked up like 3 more in free agency. You could put all that money in
when did he sign this?
Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, I guess last year. If it's a 4-year contract, he's done in 2028.
Oh man, Jesus. Well, I guess yeah. It's either you feel terrible for him or you blame him.
Both.
Both.
He probably thought that this team was on the come up.
No way. He had to have been more self-aware.
I don't think players are enough self-aware. I think they're like, oh my god, we got the first overall pick quarterback. We got the head coach that was responsible for the Bengals' offensive success. I can make any situation sound great if I really want to. I can talk you into anything. But
please find a way to talk me into the Titans right now, because I don't think you could.
No, they're getting a new stadium. That's it.
Okay.
I bet they got a kick-ass locker room now, but that's it. That's the one thing I can't do. This team's horrific.
Well, my 5 winners were the following also. I put Carly Irsay-Gordon. She's taken the league by storm. She absolutely was like, fuck it. I don't care. Trade these picks for that sauce guy. I want a good defensive back. And once she signed her signature of approval, they're like, go.
She's awesome.
She is
awesome.
Like, her presence around the organization it's so cool. Like, you would get like the Woody Johnsons of the world that are just so toxic, so clueless, that just actively hurt. And then you get Carly, who is clearly invested. She's been on record saying, I want to be involved so I can determine whether or not these dudes know what the hell they're doing. Like, no wonder this team has turned around completely in an offseason, because she took over.
Fired.
Yeah, it's right. Like, people are like, holy shit, I can't be fucking up right now. I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, dude. This morning I am writing a letter to Zoran Mondani to fucking throw Woody Johnson in prison for his crimes against the New York Jets. Like, he should care. As mayor, his first order of business should be affordable housing, affordable transportation, and kill Woody Johnson.
Dude, the Jerry Jeudy is not fast in Madden. He's never overcoming that. Never, ever overcoming that. Holy shit. Well, my next winner is Aaron Glenn. And I was going to go with the GM, but you put the GM down. And I chose Glenn because I truly think you can argue he could be canned after this year. Like, it's been that terrible. And the roster really is not that bad on paper. So the fact that it started off on such a bad foot could have been one and done. But clearly, at least I think, the fire sale that's going on means that they are willing to give him a chance with who he believes are the right players. So getting that vote of confidence is pretty huge for that man's job security. I also put A.D. Mitchell down, a new Jet. It's hard not to be excited if you're A.D. Mitchell. You were buried on the Colts depth chart. Everyone hated you because you were the only reason why they had one loss for the longest time. So now he gets an opportunity where the second best receiver is Malachi Corley, kind of. And like, Who else?
Lazard.
I don't even know if he's playing. Does he play?
I have no idea. They throw to the flat to Mason Taylor. That's like all they do. Jeremy Ruckert he's going to be stealing catches from AD Mitchell. But yeah, AD Mitchell is slotted to be receiver 2. Slotted in.
Oh yeah. So he definitely makes this list. Travion Henderson is a winner here. The poor guy has been fighting for his life to get touches. Ramondre Stevenson gets hurt. He takes on a bulk of the workload this past week. And then all we heard for the next few days is how the Patriots were looking for a running back at the deadline. That would have been the cherry on top. It's like, not only is this guy losing goal line touches to Terrell Jennings, but now they're going to trade for a running back to take even more touches from Henderson. Anything to not give him the football. That is the
And he's
Patriots'
been solid. Like, genuinely, like the last 2 games, he has finally had like an uptick in usage against 2 high-performing defenses, and he's played pretty dang solid against both. Much better than the usual Ramondre Stevenson, like 15 carries for 31 yards and a fumble. But it looks better to Vrabel, apparently, when you run for less yards per carry. I think that he thinks that it's more efficient that way.
I don't know. That's the one blemish on Vrabel's resume right now is the Ramondre Stevenson.
He loves him.
Endless love.
Like, but if I was Henderson and they traded for somebody, I probably would have brought a handgun to his office. Yeah. I'm not even kidding.
Could you imagine?
I would have pointed it right at him.
After having a good game where he finally gets some work.
2 back-to-back good, like, solid games. Like the game before, he had like 10 carries for like 75 yards. Then this last game wasn't quite as efficient, but he was good in the receiving game. He was clearly impactful, and they were like, nope, Ramondre, you're back, buddy. Turf toe and all, 2 yards a carry. Throw him back out there. So they took away a touchdown. They brought in Terrell Jennings to walk in for a touchdown.
I think it would have been worse, too, if they traded for like a Tony Pollard. Just to be
my God.
Here's this mid running back to take touches. It's like not even Breece Hall. It's Tony Pollard.
They're both mid, but I do agree.
Breece Hall hater here.
No, he's just the second best running back on his team. But
oh god, yeah, another big winner. Actually, he's a loser.
Isaiah Davis is a massive loser. He had a chance to be the starting running back here, but Braylon Allen's still out. How many yards per carry is Isaiah? Yeah, 6.5 yards per carry. Yeah, let's keep that guy on the bench. He's so good. I'll never forgive them. I can't wait till he's a free agent.
Yeah, Breece ain't coming back. My last winner was Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. Probably not so much Roman Wilson because he almost let the Colts come back after trying to hurdle a guy on.
That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Thankfully, Daniel Jones sucked that game because he threw a pick like the next play. But yeah, when you have a very small lead and like the team just missed the onside kick, you can't just go hurdling people and fumbling the ball. That was so dumb.
I think the worst part is that guy has fought tooth and nail to finally get on the field because he's been too stupid to learn the playbook. Yes. And he finally gets his chance. He's getting a few targets a game, and then he goes and does that.
And that was like the entire the entire thing around him as a prospect is he's like he does all the right things. He shows up every day. He works hard. He's intelligent. Then he comes in, has to beat dummy allegations. He finally gets playing time and acts like a dummy. Like he might just be a dummy.
I cannot believe that bumble.
That's not what I would have thought. Like that was the dumbest. That was one of the outside of like Jeremy Hill in the playoffs. That's one of like the least timely fumbles I've seen in a while.
That was like the hurdle was so unnecessary too.
Dude, he had a first down.
He did have a first down.
Like he had a great play, made a man miss. He ran for a first down. That just hurt. Like even if he hurdled the guy, he was getting maybe 2 extra yards. Just put your shoulder down, cover up the ball, or just fall down. Like most receivers do after a sizable gain. They just go to the ground. It's very normal. But nope.
Oh my god. That shit is so funny to me. I don't know why that's made me laugh so hard. It's just like the stupidity of some of these guys is just It's just second to none. The worst part is poor Amari DeMarcado gets like publicly humiliated for a bad mistake, and then like Roman Wilson, there's no video of him getting the whip. Like he probably deserved it far more.
I don't even know if that DeMarcado one wasn't a touchdown.
That's a debate right now. Like I haven't watched it.
I saw it back. Like I feel like every single time they just want to punish the guy for getting so close. Like what even is having control? Like I feel like if it's in my hands, it's my fucking control the ball. Like you don't know what I'm doing with it. You don't know how loose it is. Like I don't know. I feel like he had the ball in his hand over the white line. And then I think they just wanted to punish him for making it that close, and they just called it short. But I don't know. I'm not a ref. I just think that they genuinely want that to stop happening, so they're just going to keep calling it.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I get that.
It's happening way more often than it should. That's the funny part.
Yeah. Every single time, like every boomer is like, how does this keep happening? How does this keep happening? Like it's all these thugs, they just want to celebrate. But like it's like it's not gonna stop happening. It's not like a choice. People just get carried away, but it is stupid.
You're on fire right now. Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's about all I got on the trade deadline. Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't think I do. I mean, it's just kind of wild. Like this is it. Like these are the teams that we're going to see going into the playoffs, pretty much, unless somebody gets cut, but probably not. Maybe Travion Henderson gets cut.
Yeah,
that might be the only. What?
I was listening to the radio as I do in my old age, Jesus. And they were taking callers, and this guy's like, it's a Buffalo Bills station, of course. And he's like, is there anybody that could come available like after the deadline? Like maybe, somebody gets bought out or somebody quits that we can pick up. And we're like, wait, quits? Like, what are you talking about?
No, like you're not getting, you might get Xavier Howard. He retired. You might get him if he comes back. But like, right. Yeah, that's the scary part. That's why I brought it up is like, this is the team that Buffalo and every other team is going to be running on their hopeful Super Bowl playoff runs. So some teams I think did a pretty good job, i.e. the Colts and the Eagles, to make some splashes and improve their team going towards this hopeful Super Bowl run, and some stayed stagnant like the Bills and the Chiefs. So we'll see how it goes.
We will. The season's like basically over, so
it's all done.
It's all done. Another
the Colts won.
8-month drought of no football upcoming in 1 week.
I'm actually looking so much forward to it. It's almost draft time. I'm hyped.
I will be. I say that now, and then like it actually comes, and I'm like, fuck. Like
lock in. Nothing. Talk to Walter.
Oh God, man. I will. I got it. The second the season ends, I'm changing gears. All right. Well, that will wrap up episode 72. If you guys have any thoughts on the deadline, leave them down in the comments below. Join our Discord linked in the description as well. And we will see you in episode 73.